Good morning, distinguished faculty members, alumni, students, and guests. A very warm welcome to the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at the University of Moratuwa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that we welcome you to the felicitation of a true titan of computer science, a visionary academic, and a man who literally connected Sri Lanka to the world, Professor Gihan Dias.
Some individuals leave behind memories. Others leave behind a legacy. Through decades of dedicated service, visionary leadership, and unwavering commitment to excellence, Professor Gihan Dias has guided even the very first batch of the department and shaped not only generations of students, but also the future of computing and technology in Sri Lanka. His influence extends far beyond the classroom, inspiring countless individuals and strengthening the institutions he served. Today, we gather to celebrate an extraordinary career and a lifetime of remarkable contributions. With that, let us begin the formal proceedings of this special occasion. To commence today's ceremony with the symbolic lighting of the traditional oil lamp, I respectfully invite Professor Gihan Dias, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Professor Jagat Manathunga, Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Professor Shantha Fernando, Senior Lecturer at the Department of Computer Science, University of Jaffna, Dr. Gangadharayan Sarveswaran, Senior Treasurer of Computer Science and Engineering Student Society, Senior Lecturer Dr. Sunimal Ratnayaka, and a student representative of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering.
Thank you very much. Next, we will invite Senior Lecturer Dr. Sunimal Ratnayaka to deliver the opening statements.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My first memory of some interaction with Professor Dias goes back to 2009. So I was a first year student in my data structures and algorithms class, and Sir taught us quicksort and heap sort. So I still remember it was the first, Sir might have taught us maybe a couple of lectures in the first semester, but it was the first memorable experience with Sir. So from that first year student, first semester student, to delivering this welcome speech today at the felicitation ceremony of Professor Gihan Dias, I am truly honored to learn from him and be inspired by him, joining staff at the department and becoming his colleague, and today addressing your gathering at his felicitation ceremony. So, during our undergraduate days, Professor Gihan Dias was not a regular lecturer or a professor for us. So you were a celebrity. So you were in, so social media was like starting to gain its traction those days. I'm talking about 2008, 2009, that era. Facebook was there, but not as prominent as is today. Sir was in, I think even in television we saw Sir, and newspaper articles, blog articles, people were interviewing Sir. So you were like a celebrity to us. So in one fine morning, I remember, I think in 2013, just as you guys today, the first thing we do when we wake up is checking social media, even those days. So Twitter and Facebook. So I was at the boarding house and looking at my old, I think a Sony Ericsson phone. And I saw that there is some award awarded to Professor Dias, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame of Internet. So I didn't know what Hall of Fame was. I actually didn't have much of an idea what Professor Dias had done to this country, to the Internet as a whole. I just clicked the link and it went to the nice web, and standing beside Professor Dias was Richard Stallman. I don't know whether you know Richard Stallman. He's considered the father of open source movement, open source software, Dr. Richard Stallman. As a young open source enthusiast, and also I was doing my Google Summer of Code those days. So I knew Richard Stallman. And standing beside him was our Professor Dias, accepting the induction of Internet Hall of Fame. And that was the moment I realized, okay, so we are dealing with a man who is at the same caliber with Richard Stallman. So that is just one example of how the world has recognized him as a pioneer in Internet. I think if you're using Internet and email today, and if you're using the academic network that we use today, the Learn network, if you're using any .lk domains for websites or emails, you are directly using the technology Professor Dias pioneered to build, enabled for us, and I think Sir has been inspiring students and educating us for more than 40 years, if I'm correct. So during this long 40 years, he has been helping, contributing to the department, to the faculty, to the university, and the country, and the global Internet as a whole. As an educator, as a pioneer who introduced Internet and email to Sri Lanka, as a domain registrar of .lk top-level domain, as well as part of steering committees, standing committees, whatnot, for I think thousands of times to shape our IT industry to what it is today. So today we are celebrating the achievements of Professor Gihan Dias, or as we say, Gihan Sir, in this small appreciation or felicitation ceremony. So let me welcome you officially to this distinguished gathering. I would warmly welcome Professor Gihan Dias, our Dean Sir, Professor Janakat Manatunga, the Dean Faculty of Engineering, Professor Shantha Fernando, the Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, our distinguished guest today, Dr. Sarveswaran from University of Jaffna, my colleagues, and my dear students. So let's spend the next hour experiencing, listening to a small part of contributions Professor Gihan Dias has done for our department, to the faculty, to the university, and the country. And I would not, despite of whatever the announcements say or whatever the backdrops say, I would not say this is a farewell. This is just a thank you. And while wishing a very enjoyable retirement, I also wish that sir will keep contributing to us, to the department, to the faculty, and the university, while inspiring thousands more students for many years to come. Thank you so much, and hope you will enjoy the rest of the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sunimal, for those warm and fitting opening words. Professor Gihan Dias' dedication to academic excellence, curriculum development, and research has defined the ethos of our department for generations. To reflect on his invaluable service and leadership, I now invite our head of the department, Professor Shanta Fernando, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. In fact, I consider that it is a privilege to come here and then say a few things regarding Professor Gihan Dias. I don't know how much time am I given? 10 minutes. Okay. So I'll try to sum up everything in 10 minutes time. And because there are so many things that I can say. Of course, in the introduction, it was said that regarding his academic excellence and various things that he has done. But what I thought was, those things are already there in the internet. And we are writing the citation for him for his emeritus professor title. And then there are a lot of things. But I don't know whether this statement is correct, probably correct. From our department, I may be the person who has spent the most of time with him. Not only academically, personally, and also in the industry. The reason is that soon after I passed out, I started working in his company. And for 7 years, I was there. And then only I joined the department. And he's the one who encouraged me to do my MPhil first. And then I was reluctant to go for the PhD. And he's the one who persuaded me to go and do the PhD and come back. And then we were very much reluctant to fill the documents and do everything for the professorship. And he is the one, of course, with him there's another colleague of mine, Professor Chandana Gamuge, I must mention him, right? So two of them have been forcing me to do that. And then during my inaugural speech, he's the one who introduced me, which indicated to me how much he has observed regarding me. Because even the things that I could not remember, he could remember. So that means he had a kind of a personal interest regarding each one of us to nurture us and build us up. Sometimes he has been strict. Sometimes he has been very free with us. Sometimes he has been serious. There have been different moods and ways of operation that I have experienced through him. In fact, I can comment on various things, the things that he cherished, the things that he was happy about, the things that he was angry, the things that he would encourage, many things. Learning from him engaging in the project work, working with the industry. So there have been a lot of things that he has mentored, and not only that, sometimes spending some certain times at his place, sometimes he's spending certain times at my place, and then sometimes traveling with him in the vehicle, sometimes of course boiling the blood inside me, because we could never predict which part of the vehicle would blown out due to the type of driving. I had to specifically learn, if we go somewhere in two vehicles, if he drives in the front, to keep a gap to prevent any sudden knocking into his vehicle from behind. All of a sudden, on the middle of the road, the vehicle would stop. I can remember narrow escapes, right? So kind of a very interesting personality. And then, a lot of pioneering work he did. I can remember when he first came here to teach us in our final year, he taught us data structures and algorithms. So Dr. Surimal said it was in the first year. For us, it was in the final year. Of course, he pitched it at a very high level. He came and said, this is a very easy subject. But of course, when we started learning from him, we were wondering what did he mean by an easy subject, right? Because he went into the depths of that. In fact, not really data structures and algorithms. Data structures part was done by Professor Kodikara. So it's the algorithms part. It's a separate subject that he did. So he was using this whole man's book. But plus, there were various examples he took. And then I was privileged to involve with him in the very first email service that was set up in Sri Lanka. That was in 1980s, even when he was in the US for his PhD. He was collaborating with the department, and he, I think, used his own computer to set up the email hub at the department, which was an assembled computer which had the name called Tandem. But Tandem is a kind of a different popular band, but this had the name Tandem, if I remember right. And then some specific modems that he used because of the bad line connectivity with the direct connection to the US, telebit trailblazer modems, I can remember. And then configuring that with him, that was a very difficult task at that time, to cater for all the errors and selecting the required compression and all that. So he was expert on that. And when we started this company to provide the email service, because at that time, none of these internet service providers were there. So that's why it is very much correct to say that he is the father of the internet. He first had the universities linked with the learn connectivity here. Of course, Professor Induruwa was the one who started, but the practical implementation, I would say, he did most of it. And then even going into the lower levels of communications, even in software writing, because I started my career as a software engineer with his guidance. So he wanted to even get into the levels of writing into the registers and setting up the registers and then getting the programs to work and to cater for various erroneous situations. So it was an engineering task. And not only that, even bit of hardware, I can remember, to cater for the bad connections, he used to get some modems called US Robotics. That was the highest speed modems at that time, 14.4K. And then when they were struck with lightning, it had to be repaired, but he gave the challenge, no, you have to repair it. So we had to multi-layer circuit. Even at that time, we had 3 layers, so it had to be repaired, and some testing needed to be done. So he was very much innovative in that sense. And then, of course, to cut short the story, we can see he inspired many other companies to get into the internet, because his concept was that we ourselves should not be starting infrastructure provision, because the bigger companies can do that, but instead we should be the expertise who provide the expertise for them to do that, because it was a choice between the competency and the capabilities and the expertise, and also the ability to provide the infrastructure and the capital. So I think he had the right choice. So went into motivating the large companies like SLT, CCOM, Dynanet, and various other companies who were there at that time, trying to start up internet services, struggling with various issues with the internet which was at that time, and then helping them, technical expertise, to set up networks in a secure manner. I can remember how he instructed us to set up firewalls using the normal PCs with multiple cards connected, and then getting into the kernel level and configuring, right? So that was how the internet was started with his guidance. So I was privileged to learn a lot of things, the root level things, because of the work he did. Then of course he moved into the Sinhala language side, and also the cybersecurity side. So when I wanted to work on this with Professor Gamage, and then there were several others who were at that time who wanted to make the internet a safe environment. So he was the link with the ICT agency and various other bodies, and then the department as well. And then at least 2 computer emergency response teams could be started because of that, the pioneering efforts. And so he was there as a supporter, specifically when we required funding. So then he provided that through LK domain registry, and then that helped us to move forward. And then, so there are a lot of things that we can say. One thing that we wanted was, one thing that he always stated was that we should not stagnate in one point, and we should keep on moving from one expertise to another expertise, depending on the capacities that we have, but while acquiring more capacities to cater for something that will happen in the future. So that's why before internet was there, he saw internet being established. Before proper Sinhala language was there, he saw how it could be established, how it should be there. Not only Sinhala, he worked a lot in Tamil language as well. We had Dr. Sarveswaran here, who was a student of him, right, who came forward. So he has been working on the Tamil side, and so both Sinhala and Tamil. So today we are able to have the Unicode and various other standards and implementations because of the work he did. Of course, there were a lot of other people to help. It was a teamwork, but working as a team was something that we experienced. And then when we wanted to have e-learning services set up here, we saw that it is something yet to come way back in year 2000 and 2001, right? And that's the time that we started many systems here. And then I can remember at that time, CITES didn't have any servers or any server room or whatever. We kept the servers in our staff rooms. And I hope Professor Dias can remember how we set up the very early versions, and then we were running it for few departments in the faculty at that time, and then later on we expanded it. And then the university email systems, so he pioneered at that time, and then we are still continuing with that. And then, I mean, not the technology, but the concept. And then I can remember his visit to Holland as well. So he, in the same way that I have some stories regarding him, he also may have certain stories regarding me. But that means, we have been spending a lot of personal time together. And then that has helped us to many of those, not only me, there are a lot of other colleagues. I don't know, I am very selfish when I say that, but of course I feel that way. Many others also may feel that way. But then to shape our personal lives, academic lives, professional lives. So he has commenced a lot. He has influenced a lot, and because of that, we are here today. So I am very much thankful to him for Professor Gihan Dias. That means from my student days and right throughout my career. So he has been there, and thank you for that. But at the same time, I also would like to remind another lecturer who was with us, who has passed away. So with him, he also worked with me, so I need to give credit to him as well. I think probably he remembers, he also will remember that, Professor Sardar Vijay Soma. So two of them together did a lot of things at the beginnings of the department. So we as a department, at this stage today, because of the pioneering work, of course under the leadership of Professor Induruwa, so 3 of the lecturers who have been there, 2 of them, of course one has passed away, one is abroad after the retirement, of course even prior to retirement, now of course he's quite aged. From time to time we can see him, and then Professor Dias was the most recent one to retire, but of course I think still he will remain with us in various ways, contributing in whatever the way he can work. Of course, when I spoke to him, he quite firmly wanted to have his retirement in the form of a retirement. He didn't even want to have a kind of a contract extension, but he was willing to take certain responsibilities, and in fact I am very much thankful to him for undertaking the subject of late Mr. Nilhan Niles, to do it on behalf of him, and also as a department, since we had to fulfill that responsibility. So thank you, sir, for undertaking that as well. So I think with this I will stop here without going into too much of detail, and I wish you a good time ahead with all kinds of things mixed together and a happy life. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Fernando, for highlighting the deep institutional mark Professor Dias leaves behind. And now I invite Senior Lecturer Ms. Nania Kara, who has been one of Professor Dias's first students, to share her experiences and thoughts.
Thank you, Dean Engineering, my dear colleagues and students. It is, I don't know whether we should keep on recollecting how we know Professor Gihan Dias or Dr. Gihan Dias or Gihan Sir, as we always call him. But I'm not going to go through the recollections a lot, but let me tell you, I still recollect the first time we saw young Dr. Gihan Dias, then head of department, Dr. Abhay Sinduruwa, walked into the classroom that we were sitting as second year students, I believe. And through the glass door, he said, "Oh, see, there is Dr. Dias who just came back." And to us, who had only very few staff members, Dr. Induruwa and Dr. Vijay Soma, this was like, expanding the CSE staff in multiple numbers. This morning, my husband was asking, for how long has Dr. Dias been in the department? Because for him, he knew Dr. Dias to the same number of years that he knew me as well. Then I said, oh, he's the first employee of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. And when the department was established far back in 1985, 1985, end of January, Sir takes the pride in reminding us that he was recruited to the department then as a young graduate from February 1985. So that's there. And as I said, my first time seeing him, we were like, oh yes, he comes with a PhD from US, and what would happen? Very soon, we started seeing that this young Dr. Dias was not alone. Every time in the morning when Sir comes, there was another beautiful lady following him. To me, she was no stranger, but to most of us. So Dr. Gihan Dias came together with Dr. Mrs. Dilika Dias, who is today the acting Vice Chancellor of University of Moratuwa. One thing, I would share some of the lesser known facts about Sir. So I hope you will forgive me for telling these stories. One thing that was really noticeable in this male dominant engineering faculty was when they get out of the car, Sir would be the one who would carry the heavy bag. To the dismay of most of my seniors, they were like, why is he carrying that? You know, the traditional Sri Lankan culture of women have to do all the hard work. Sir, without fail, almost every day carried their lunch bag. And I was like, wow, what an example. Today, I'm really happy most of my younger colleagues are doing that. But that really was a changing moment for us. I still recollect, I asked Sir whether he remembered what was his first lecture to us. Shantaya, I think you were slightly mistaken because it was the level 4 algorithms, the part 3 algorithms that Sir was teaching. By the time he came, we have had data structures and algorithms. To him, it was advanced algorithms. To us, it was algorithms and software engineering. Sir walked into the class with a piece of paper in his hand. Today, we talk about teaching aids and all that. But Sir had a piece of paper, read it out, and said, oh, Fermat's last theorem had been proved. You can go and look at internet, Fermat's last theorem, what that is. But unfortunately, the Fermat who came up with the theory died before proving it. And subsequently, someone proved it. So, Sir, at a time, there was no internet, no social media, nothing. Sir shared what was happening in the world with us in very subtle ways. Of course, the task was, we were asked to prove it as well. But that got us into understanding the usefulness of theories, what we thought were useless as students. We did hear a lot about personal impact Sir has had. I'm not going to go into that, dear Sir, because if I do that, I would need the whole day. But let me tell you how the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, how it became the pioneering department, or the department which has had the most impact in the IT industry in Sri Lanka. Good old days, Sri Lanka didn't have internet. You heard about how Sir pioneered all that. But when we were having either dial-up connectivity or whatever, every senior personality in the higher education landscape was given email connectivity at home. Did we have a lot of systems engineers to support that? No, we had only Dr. Dias. Dr. Indra was there to provide the policy kind of leadership. And Sir had it's not even an army of, right? We had only 16 people in a batch. So Sir used the young undergraduates in Santaya's batch, my batch, and the batch junior to us. We would go to places, install email, show people how to do it. So to all of them, if you want a new technology connected to the world, CSE was the place to go. And that's how we started building the name. Later on, when everybody was asking how to install Linux, how to make sure these, or even how to buy a PC at a time that there was no knowledge on those, Sir guided us. to do workshops. If anybody wanted to learn about any of these, CSE was the place to go. The CS and ES that you proudly talk about today, the way that they started earning their first rupee was conducting workshops. These workshops were not just money makers, but those are the things which brought us the name that we have today. The trend-setting department, the Department of Computer Science and Engineering became because of whatever it is Sir was doing. I may be stealing Sarvesa's speech if I say Sir was a doer. He was always doing things and showing things by example and making sure that we also learned from that. One earliest recollection I have as a young lecturer was the department had those Tartoon and Acer machines, perhaps, I think. Those machines were breaking down all the time. And obviously, myself, Chatura, Sanataya, as young lecturers, were entrusted with the task of opening these machines and doing something. You can see my hand is not very long. And I was always struggling, trying to open these. And Dr. Dias would walk by, just looking at me, and I would very humbly look at him. But he never helped me to open that. Until one day, when he was looking at it and said, Vishaka, what's the problem? I said, sir, I can't really, because you have to press from the bottom, open from the top. I think, sir, till that day, sir thought, being a girl, I was trying to, be that second-class citizen, trying to get guys to do things. Sir realized that it was a physical deformity that I had. From that day onwards, I never had to struggle with a machine, because every time Sir see me, Sir would come and say, let me open it for you. That was because he was never making us be the second-class citizens just because of gender or anything else. He wanted all of us to be equally competent and be able to achieve all what Shanta was talking about, all what we have done on our own. So that really was, and my other recollections being a young female staff member was every time the department organizes something, quite often being the only female in the entire Sumanadasa building sometimes, because Dilika madam was on maternity leave with Savindu, tea making or the refreshment would always become my job. I mean, this was not even, sometimes they don't even discuss this at the organizing committee meetings. And once Sir asked, who is going to look after the refreshments? And Dr. Indra said, of course, Vishaka. So I said, why? She is doing all other things as well. Let me look after making sure that refreshments are there, because that was the equality that he was bringing in to all the professionals. To me, sir, you may not even remember these, but these are defining things in my life, and things that today I happily see some of my younger colleagues, even without them realizing, practices it. This is CSE culture, where we try to make each and every member a competent personality. I'm not going to talk about the impact he has had in bringing internet to Sri Lanka, but if you look at, even to date, whenever we go to an industry event, the thing that is asked would be, how is Gihan, sir? How is Gihan? Or how is Professor Dias? Because to them, we symbolizes computer science and engineering is Professor Gihan Dias. So on Friday, I was at an event, this Road to 5 Billion, which was organized, was in Jaffna. So I had to, I think, maybe 50 times I had to say, Professor Dias is in Jaffna. By the way, he is retiring. And they were like, he's retiring? Because Sir is very dynamic at every point and is ready to do whatever he wanted. I think if I speak for all of us, Sanataya to Shantaya, all the heads who have been there, Sir was always the manager we had. We just have to be the Liana Mahatya or the clerk implementing the suggestions he had. And Sir's suggestions were not very obvious. He would say something which at the surface would look like impossible. And being as young as we were, Sanataya and myself perhaps would have like, how do we do this? But most of today, CSE is what it is because of those suggestions he had. On a second thought, when you go home and think about it, you realize, yes, we need to do that. From the uniform, from the t-shirts you wear to the labs you see, if the older generation of us go through thinking about how did we first start those, it roots back to Dr. Dias suggesting, let's do this. So thank you so much, sir, for being, as Shanta said, sometimes you got angry with us, sometimes we got angry with you, but CSE, that's the true spirit of CSE. We decide to respect the different views, and we look at the gist of the idea, not who is bringing it. And that's the culture Dr. Dias inculcated in us. We had Dr. Indurua for some time. We had late Dr. Sarda Vijayasoma for some time. They both resigned fairly early. There was a time that Gihan sir took the entire department's responsibility just on his shoulders. When the first instances, when we had those two, we had Dr. Dias, and then we had Sanataya, myself, and Sunimalaya as young lecturers, and yet we did everything. I think at one point, Chaturan sir were the only members in the staff who were doing multiple different things. But that, my dear children, what young Dr. Dias showed us is, you don't need to be a senior personality. You don't need titles to be a mentor, to be a visionary who would drive a very small department to the levels that it is there. We all heard about Sir's commitment to work, how he did all the hard work. You might think, all work and no fun make Gihan a dull boy. No, Sir was the live wire behind all our entertainment. Sanataya would recollect when we joined the staff, at 10:30 sharp, Sir would be in our rooms asking us to go for tea. And we would be going for tea, gathering all the people along the way, every floor in Sumanadasa building to the Gula that was then the staff canteen. Those discussions, interactions with people really helped shaping our future, especially I think the interactions Chatura, Sanat, myself, our generation as younger lecturers got were because of that. Of course, sometimes it was hilarious. I recollect Sir going and saying, Professor P. De Silva, Sir dekak kiyanna aveyada. You know the Sinhala term when you say dekak kiyanna. But that was, he had two things to discuss with Professor P. De Silva. Today, when we count the number of years that CSE staff has not gone on a staff trip, what was happening in those days were other staff members were counting the number of trips CSE staff was going in a given year, because Sir would say, hey, let's go on a trip. And not much of planning, but we had a lot of interactions where we could not just have fun, but bring forth those ideas. So, Shanta, I think I propose to you that we should start continuing those. Sir was always, I mean, Dr. Dias was have always been present in all our lives. Sometimes may not be through his physical presence, but through the advisors that we would recollect for the years to come. And my dear children, what I want you to remember, one thing I learned as a student, when Sir gave us a responsibility, like installing LearnMail or organizing something, he trusted us to do everything. we would go and ask him, and I, quite a few times I got like, you don't have to ask me everything. I have told you what is needed, go and do it. So that's something that you lack today. Perhaps because we are overly controlling you, but let's learn from Dr. Dias. When you have to do something, you have to do it to the best of your ability. And that is what would bring CSE to the glory that it has always been having.
Legacy and to show our appreciation. Let's take a look at it.
One thing I realized earlier in my young professional career as a lecturer was Dr. Dias was not only a teacher in the sense of an academic theoretician thing. He was a doer. He would sit in front of a computer, get things done at a time when there was no internet in Sri Lanka. He was my final year project supervisor, and I could surf the internet. I mean, there wasn't anything like a browser or anything at that point, but Sir sat with me and my project partner. We dialed to US and used these various news groups to find out about how you could connect networks at that point.
Along with Professor Shant and Professor Chandan, I was also in the very first batch of the CSE, and when we were in the final year, Professor Gihan returned with his PhD and he started teaching us. So that was our first interaction, and it was a very interesting period to learn from a new PhD graduate, and it was a very happy time. It was the beginning of a long association with him. After we graduated in 1993, I joined the department, and at the time he had already made a lot of contribution. He was one of the key people in getting Sri Lanka connected to the internet. So he did some early work while he was in the US, and after returning, I also joined with him, and I'm proud to say that we had that experience in expanding the email connectivity initially, as that was the only internet we had, the email connectivity through various universities and research institutions in Sri Lanka. With him, we traveled to various places, set up emails, services like that. That was the beginning of the academic internet.
I was privileged to work with him soon after passing out in the company that he formed. So in fact, I did not join the academic sector after my graduation. What I did was I went into the private sector, but my first job was with him. So I got a lot of insights from him, and then he created a very good working environment. In fact, that was a company who provided services to many internet service providers who started later. But prior to that, the very first email service in Sri Lanka was set up for the commercial purposes in his company, while the academic email service continued at the department.
The education arena, I remember department once wanted to organize a workshop for the academics elsewhere on how to use digital tools. This was far back in 1994, I believe, somewhere in the early 90s. we as then young lecturers were very passionate about doing this, but we didn't know what to do. So we all ran to the head of department at that point, Dr. Gihan Dias, and said, so we need to do that. And Sir was behind us, guiding us through everything and doing it. This is how CSE built up its good name. It's because of the commitment of people like Dr. Gihan Dias. We became the IT education department in the country. Moving into the later years, if you look at, for all of us, the young heads, Sir was always there. Sometimes may not be in a very even an amicable manner. He always loved to disagree with certain decisions in order for us to see the other side of the coin. To me, as a very young head of department, my 5.5 years of headship was always, would Sir approve this kind of recollection? And today, if you look at most of the things that we do, things which we sometimes even do out of the box thinking, was initiated by Dr. Gihan Dias.
Later on, I worked with him in various other areas outside the academic activities of the university. So he was a colleague who would always inspire us, and I learned a lot from him. I'm still learning. And also he would challenge us to think in alternative ways and think on the different ways of doing things, so forth. So that's a great experience and a privilege to work with him. A major part of contribution from him also came beyond the university is how he contributed to the local language related computing, Sinhala language and even Tamil, how to use those languages in computers and effectively, and how to engage local language users into the information technology. So he was with the initially when the ICT agency was set up, he was one of the founding program managers there. And then he worked initially to contribute to the development of Sinhala related computing, the keyboard, the Unicode related things. There were a lot of activities going on in the ICT agency with various others. He was contributing a lot. I got the privilege to work with him in some of those activities. We at the university got opportunity to contribute to popularize the localized software. And with Professor Dias, I did a project called LACAPS with a team. We went all over the country training school level children as well as adults in using this localized software. A couple of years we had that project. And around 2015-16 there was another major initiative. We worked closely with the Department of Official Languages of Sri Lanka to build a translation system for official documents, because the government departments and various agencies were struggling with having to translate a lot of documents. At the time, things like Google Translate and other now more advanced translation systems were not available. And we created one with for the Official Languages Department and other related agencies, and then that Professor Dias played a leadership role in that, and we are proud to say that we again trained a lot of people and get that system deployed and still being used today as well.
Research were done together in the area of security and also in the area of e-learning. Both the areas that I have been doing my research. So he has been there right from the beginning. So whenever I had to write any research papers, whenever I had to do presentations, he was there. And then specifically when we wanted to start computer emergency readiness team, which we felt as a kind of a need of the hour at that time, because a lot of cyber attacks were coming in. So I got a lot of help from him. In fact, both of us together formed the very first computer emergency readiness team in Sri Lanka. And then that has been functioning very well even to date. He got the Internet Hall of Fame award as well. That is by doing a lot of work to establish internet in Sri Lanka, and also the huge amount of work that he did to have Sinhala as a language in computing. So the pioneering efforts actually has helped even to have the Unicode that we have today, and then the list can go on and go on.
Few academics can say their work transformed an entire nation's infrastructure. From pioneering SLNet and building Learn, and establishing the .lk domain registry and breaking barriers in local language computing, Professor Dias bridged the gap between academia and industry like no other. To speak on his monumental impact on Sri Lanka's computer science landscape, I now invite Dr. Sarveswaran on stage.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm very happy to be here at this felicitation ceremony. And my sincere thanks to all the organizers for inviting me to share a message. And I got to know about this morning. I arrived from Jaffna just this morning, and then I got to know that I need to speak at this occasion. So I will try my best since I have worked with Gihan sir for some time, and also like I wrote about him a little, so probably I can pick some points from the article and I can share my personal reflections and how the journey, 20 years of journey with him. So CSE is a special place for me. I mean, I learned to do computer science at CSE. Although I graduated from Peradeniya University, then I joined in 2006 at CSE, and then only I really learned to do computer science. And I joined as an instructor in 2006. At the time, Vishaka madam was the head of the department, and she was, I mean, you know that's a peak time of the war. We had a lot of challenges, being a person coming from Jaffna, but Vishaka madam protected me and like all our colleagues in so many situations. And also Shanda sir, like although I joined as an instructor in 2006, I took practical classes only for a few months. Then Shanda sir asked whether can I help with LearnOrg development. So then I started developing or helping him with LearnOrg development, and Professor Indiga was also helping with me related to LearnOrg development. And today I just looked at the LearnOrg page. I don't know whether you're all still using that page, but I still see the same old LearnOrg page, non-responsive and the same image. So I don't know, if you're all using, I'm very happy to see that things still work, which were built like 20 years ago, right? Not very fancy technology, all very hard-coded systems at the time, but still it works. So happy to see that. So, and then Shanda sir like supervised my master. So, yeah, what I'm trying to establish is the CS is a special place for me and where I learn to do things. Then in 2006, latter part of 2006, Gihan sir one day asked whether you are interested in languages, whether can we do some Tamil language related projects. I said, why not? But I didn't know that eventually I will become a computational linguistics now, right? But that spark came from Gihan sir, like 20 years ago. So then we started doing a lot of language-related projects, and he asked me to lead a lot of Tamil-related localization projects. Initially, what we were doing were localization projects. So we were converting all open source softwares to Tamil and Sinhala. So I was leading the Tamil one. So that is how the journey was started with Gihan sir. And many of Shanda sir and Visakha madam, and also in the video, like many of them, they talked about his contribution to the country and the technology development, etc. So I will be sharing some of my personal reflections, which probably many of us can resonate. Okay, so we also had that from Gihan sir. So I worked with him. I had an opportunity to work with him like as a student, as a mentee, and as a colleague, right? And then as a project colleague, right? And also Shanda sir was referring about like driving in his car and also driving in front of his car, right? I have been in the front seat when he drives car in European highways, so you can imagine. So we travel like for project meetings. So whenever we go to project meetings, he always rent a car. Once we rented a car in Germany and we went to 4 countries within one day. Like Switzerland and Austria and Liechtenstein and then some other countries within one day. So you can imagine the experience that he gave, right? And I think Dr. Buddhiga was also there, right? Yeah, we all like traveled 4 countries within one day, and Gihan sir was driving the whole day, right? From morning till evening in European highways, and we wanted to escape. So, you know, like probably people who have worked with Gihan sir know that how crazy he is, right? Sometime to escape from tolls or escape paying tolls, we took some roads, we don't know where it will end up. And we had to do a lot of turns, and especially in Austria, we had to he wanted to escape toll routes. So yeah, so thank you for such memorable experiences. And also not only that, like experiences, he also technically challenge you, right? So then, I mean, after my instructor position in 2006, I was given a systems engineer position. So I was working as a systems engineer at CSE department. Then one day, sir came and said that, okay, now, so and at that time, the CSE department was managing the whole university server environment and server setup. So one day, sir came and said that, okay, Sarvesh, now we are running all this mail server in using SendMail. You need to migrate everything to postfix. And also, you need to set up an LDEP server to do all the authentication without losing any accounts and any emails. So for a person who is into the systems engineer position for 6 months, right? I don't know whether you feel that the weight of it, right? Because, I mean, those who know about these systems, SendMail and Postfix, SendMail is on mailbox where all the mails are saved as one single text file. And then in Postfix, all the files are stored, all the emails are stored as separate files. So you need to break the mailbox to mail directory and then also without losing any emails, and you need to get the LDAP authentication done. But for some reason he believed that I could do that, although I couldn't imagine that I can do that. So it took some time, but it was a great experience. Later, I was very confident that I can set up any systems. So thereafter, I set up several systems, also at University of Jaffna. Most of our system, I had the confidence to set it up, right? So such confidence, initially sometime you don't feel that you can do it, but he has the, he knew that we could do it, and he always push you to do things, right? As Vishaka madam already mentioned, right? So that's some incident. So there are so many other incidents. So once, I don't know, probably Dr. Slochana remembers. So one day he asked us to do the network auditing at the National Library, right? So we didn't know anything about network auditing, right? So he asked, okay, can you two do the network auditing of the National Library, right? So then we had to learn everything, right? What it is, how to do the network auditing, how to do the documentation, how to submit it. So he really pushes you to know your limit, and he pushes you to make you believe that you can do things, right? Similarly, I don't know, some of, students, you may not know that. So in Sri Lanka, you can type all the domain names in Tamil and Sinhala. And Sri Lanka is the first country introduced this localized domain name. We call it internationalized domain name in two scripts, Tamil and Sinhala, for the first time in the world, right? Then BBC approached for an interview, right? Then Gihan sir came on the previous day, said that, okay, BBC people are asking for an interview. Please do it tomorrow morning. He didn't ask whether you can do it or not. Please do it tomorrow morning, right? So you can see, right? So how much he basically nurture you. So I'm saying all this not as a complaint, but I'm sharing all these stories as a compliment and the experience he provided, and which now helping me to do so many things that I do. And he also genuinely interested in our career, like Shanda sir already mentioned, right? So I joined to the University of Jaffna in 2011 as a lecturer. Then whenever he sees me, the first thing he asks me is, have you started your postgraduate studies? Right? And so then I always say, okay, I will do that. Then he started pushing our head of the department and other staff, saying, okay, you should push surveys to start PhDs, postgraduate studies. So whenever he visited few times to do the program review and other curriculum, and also came as a keynote speaker. Whenever he basically come to our department, first thing he asks whether you have started your postgraduate studies, and also ask our staff, can't you push surveys to start his PhD? So then I asked him whether can you supervise me in 2017. He said yes. And then a different type of journey started in 2007, different relationship as a supervisor. then like we have a lot of meetings. I mean, you all know how the meetings with Gihan sir will go, right? So sometimes he asks questions, he tell so many things, you will not understand the importance at that point of time. But later when you think about it, right, maybe not later during your PhD, but after completing the PhD, you really feel that why he has done like that. He is like our father, right? So my father, he doesn't speak much, but he sometimes asks me to do things, but sometimes I get irritated, but later I realize, okay, he has asked me to do that because of this, right? So he somehow, he sees the big picture. He could connect several things, right, which I did not have the capacity to understand at that point of time, but now I clearly see why he has done all those, and that helped me to basically, so I completed my PhD in 2022. Now I am running a team of like 10 people of PhD students and all. That's all because of the training that he gave, and he always trained me to see possibilities in all the challenges that we have, right? So that's a rare training that you can get from people. So thank you, sir. And with that, so I mean, and he is, so I have like, yeah. And then, yeah, sir's contribution, so it cannot be measured through the technology contribution and the contribution to the national level projects and to the department, but also I think that his greatest contribution can be seen in the people he has mentored and the confidence he has built in them and the opportunities that he has created. He has not only built systems, he has built people who can build systems. He has not only led projects, but he has developed people who can lead projects. Right? He has not only solved problems, but he has prepared generation of people to face new and difficult problems. These are from my personal experience. I realize this every day. And Gihan sir recently shared that at one of our symposium that I was organizing on the last 31st of July, he made a post on Facebook saying, this is the symposium, the final event that he attended as a professor, right? So it's a special privilege. I started a journey with him 20 years ago, and the final event as professor he participated was the one which I organized. It's a privilege for me, but I am pretty sure that he will not retire, right? And thank you for believing in me when I did not fully believe in myself. Thank you for pushing me, creating opportunity for me, guiding my academic journey, and helping me become the person I am today. I wish you good health, happiness, and many more meaningful service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for reminding us of the immense real-world footprint Professor Dias leaves on our digital nation. Now I invite the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Professor Moratuwa, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Professor Gihan Dias, Professor Shanta Fernando, Head of Computer Science and Engineering. I never thought that I'm being invited to make a speech here. Yeah, thank you, and this is a wonderful opportunity. And I think we are gathered here to mark the retirement of Professor Dias. Sincerely, for me, there's no retirement as such for an academic. I think over and over again, the speakers before me indirectly mentioned about this. Probably this is a beginning of a journey where Professor Dias might not have to attend official meetings, but your engagement as an academic, I think, would never end. The legacy that you leave behind will flourish, and we always believe in you that you will be with us in times to come as well. Now, to me, I regard myself as your first student. A few months before any of you became his student. Soon after my A-levels, I think towards the end of 1985, I was selected to be to participate in a program called Science for Youth, conducted by R.C. Clarke Center. A 12-weekend program soon after my A-levels, and one weekend we spent at Computer Science and Engineering. I think Professor, at that time, Dr. Indaruwa and Mr. Dias, they were teaching us about computers. That's the first time that I saw a computer in my life. And I never felt like that it will be the future. I didn't understand much what they were teaching us, because the first time seeing a computer, and I was expecting to join the university after a couple of months after that. The first batch, I have my colleagues here. I'm from the batch where the first Computer Science and Engineering batch was formed. Professor Sanath, Professor Shanta, and Professor Gamage were my batchmates. And that was the first time that I came to the university back in 1985, probably in December or January. I can't exactly remember. And that program was I think, coordinated by Dr. R.C. Clarke, Dr. Suril Ponnamperuma, and Dr. Ray Vijayawardena. It was a high standing one, which I enjoyed a lot. And from there onwards, I never met Professor Dias, because I think you went on sabbatical, so your study leave when we joined the university in 1986, towards the end of 1986. And I chose civil engineering, and my colleagues had the privilege to study under you. But later, as a junior faculty member, we had the opportunity to see you interacting with other senior faculty members, very vibrant moments that we had. And we observed one particular attribute. You disagreed where disagreement would be the best option. You were bold enough, you were brave enough, and you never hesitated with your signature. You just wiped your face and touched your hair whenever you had something to say in disagreement. I don't know, probably. But we noted that most of the time, that was something to think twice before making decisions. I think, as Dr. Sarves also mentioned, at that time, we never thought that it would be a solution that you are proposing, but later when we think back, you are bold enough to reason out what would be correct and what should be left out. Some of the seniors might not have agreed with you, but you tried your best to convince the others why and how and when to take correct decisions. That was, to me, was something wonderful and a very deep, striking experience that I had while I was a junior faculty member. And I think you have contributed a lot to the university, the faculty, the university, and the country as a whole, and even beyond the country. And you have been a very respected teacher, a scholar, a researcher, and a pioneer in so many ways, and as a mentor. Mentor not only for computer-related fields, but also any other fields that you came across. And while thanking for inviting me to this occasion, I wish you a blessed retirement, health, and contentment. And sir, please stay with us for years to come. And I think the most valuable time is still ahead of you. Thank you very much, sir, for all your contributions. And on behalf of the faculty, I salute you. And I earnestly admire your contribution to the faculty. Please stay with us, sir, and good health and contentment. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for those remarkable words. As a small symbol of our profound gratitude, respect, and admiration for over 3 decades of selfless service, we would now like to present a token of appreciation to Professor Dias.
I kindly invite Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Professor Fernando, and Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Professor Moratuwa, to present the token of appreciation to Professor Dias.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us show our gratitude with a standing ovation. Thank you very much.
Now I invite the esteemed Professor Dias to deliver his felicitation speech.
Thank you, the compeers, Dean, Head of Department, all the professors and staff, and of course my dear students, and of course surveys. I didn't actually expect him to be here. He said he was coming tomorrow for the other CODL thing. I didn't think he was going to come today. Anyway, yeah, so it's been a long time here. Actually, I start at the beginning because I think most of the stuff I have done after I became a lecturer, Dr. Sunimal, Professor Shanta, Vishaka, and so on have talked about. So, but anyway, all of you have, for whatever reason, decided to come to Moratuwa to do, I'm mostly talking to students, to do your undergraduate. I don't know why, right? maybe because you thought, okay, this is a place where you can finish your degree and get a job, or maybe your parents or your tuition master or somebody recommended. But anyway, for some reason you have decided to come here. So let me go back when I was a fairly small child. Actually, my father was an engineer. He was actually civil engineer. He was in the CTB. So he was building many of the bus depots all around the country were actually built under his supervision. And he was a member of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, as well as the Institution of Civil Engineers. And those magazines kept coming every day. Actually, my father was not so keen to read them, but as soon as they came, I grabbed them and I read them. And I was fascinated. I can still remember one of the articles there long ago was about the Kalutara Bodhi, the Chaitya, right? I think you have all seen it. As soon as you pass the bridge, the Bodhi is on one side, the Chaitya is on the other side. Most of you may have thought that was built by Gihan Dias or somebody, right? Actually, it wasn't. It was only built in, I think, the 1970s or so, I can't remember exactly. And it's a unique thing. I don't know if you have ever gone to the Chaitya. Most people just go and, put some money for the Bodhi and keep going. It is hollow inside and you can walk in. It's about almost the only Chaitya which you can actually go inside, and it is built of pre-stressed concrete, I believe. I'm correct, right? We'll ask the civil engineer here. And it was a very unique construction at that time, and I was very impressed. So I actually wanted to become an engineer. And then, I think just before my A-level in 1978 or somewhere, I bought a book called Programming in Basic. So I was fascinated. I read the entire book. Only thing at that time, I had never seen a computer. Why? Because there were no computers in Sri Lanka at that time. Or there was, maybe State Engineering Corporation had one, I think. So actually I did all of that. I wrote all the programs which they had, but of course on piece of paper. And I couldn't run them because of course I had no computer. But I was fascinated. And then just after my A-level, I saw advertisements saying programming course in BASIC. So I quickly went and registered for that and followed that. That was on the computer called TRS-80. I think there may be not exactly the same model, but one of those may be still around in the department. I don't know what happened to it. So I learned programming. This was before I actually got to the university. And it really hooked me on that. And I really wanted to do computer science. Unfortunately, at that time, there was no department of computer science. So I sort of went to maybe the nearest one, electronics and telecom engineering. So I think most of you don't know, students and probably some of the staff also, that actually I graduated from electronics and telecom. But of course, during the final year and so on, I spent myself and few other friends of mine, as undergraduates, we spent most of our time in the it was not really even a lab, it was a computer center. Earlier they had an IBM punch card machine. You can still see pieces of that here and there on the corridor. And then they bought this, as I said, this TRS-80 machine with the green screen. And we used to go there and play with it whenever we had some free time. And Dr. Indruwa, who was the director of the center, used to chase us out when we were there too long and so on. So then I decided, okay, although I had done this degree in electronics. Oh, and then another experience I had was I went to a library and found a book called Telecommunications and the Computer
by a person called James Martin. So I read that and I was very impressed or very interested. Okay, so computers can talk to each other. And I thought, okay, that is what I would like to do, have computers talk to each other. So that would have been, again, I can't remember, maybe during my undergraduate days, I think. And so in fact, my final year project was called computer communications using some chips and some wires and various things. We managed to get two devices talking to each other. And many of you may have noticed that when I walk with a Victor Zim, got broken some time ago. Actually, that happened because there was an exhibition. I think we were in the second year or somewhere, second year or third year. And there was an exhibition at the University of Colombo. So we went there to demonstrate how computers can talk to each other. And then we had set everything up, and I think probably not slept very much or something. And on the way somewhere I was driving, and so I don't know. So I think Professor Shanta will get even more excited. Hit a van or something, and then anyway managed to break my leg. Professor Shanta, of course, probably doesn't know about that incident. Anyway, so now he will keep even a longer distance from my vehicle. So anyway, so I can even say that I broke my leg because of computer and communications. Anyway, I was very happy after I graduated that Dr. Induruwa came and asked me to join the brand new computer science department. Actually, it wasn't even computer science and engineering at that time. I still have, I think, the first letterhead we had for the department, which is Department of Computer Science, Faculty of Engineering. But later it was changed to Computer Science and Engineering. And as I think Vishaka mentioned, I was the first employee because at that time Dr. Induruwa, Dr. Sarda Vijay Soma, and some of the other technical officers and so on who were there were actually in the electrical engineering department, because that's really where it came from, the computer science, computer center. But by the time I joined, the actual department was set up, so I was directly recruited that, first as a temporary instructor and then assistant lecturer and so on. So that's some of the things I would like to share with you. And I think several people mentioned that I like to do things, I like to build things. So I always consider myself an engineer. So engineer is somebody who builds things. So I mean, I don't have any issue with people who work with theory. I mean, somebody has to work with theory. But I never thought of myself as somebody who does theory and goes away. I always consider that I am a person who builds things, and I'm happy that I managed to build several things, as various people mentioned. First of all, something called SLNet, which was actually email network. Then, of course, to help that, we built something called Lanka Academic Network. And then, of course, we built the Learn Lanka. Now, of course, we call it Lanka Education Research Network. Early it was Lanka Experimental Academic and Research Network or something. Anyway, same letters, but anyway. So I was there at the beginning, and then, of course, somewhat by mistake, I got into this language business. I mean, I was always a networking person. In fact, I taught the CS 203, now it's 2033. For a long time now, Dr. Salochana is teaching it, but I think many, many years, sorry, somebody else is teaching it. Yeah, someone else is teaching it, right. Anyway, so I sort of was a networking person, built the LAN network, run around with these routers, and so that's another long story, we'll talk about it later. By the way, Dr. Uday, you are supposed to get somebody to interview me and write these things down, right? Okay. So we sort of thought that, okay, we have to tell people in Sri Lanka about this internet, how to use it. And we thought the best way is we will do it on the internet itself by setting up a web page on how to connect to the internet. So obviously somebody will have to connect first, but anyway. And then I can't remember exactly who, anyway somebody said, okay, this must be not only in English, it must be in Sinhala and Tamil. Very good, right? I mean, I know I'm talking to you in English, but I would actually have preferred to speak to you in Sinhala and Tamil, both, if possible. So we said, okay, we will put this web page in Sinhala, and we will put this web page in Tamil. But then when we looked around, there was no way to do that. Nobody knew how to do that. So we said, okay, we'll figure out some way to do that. And then we were at this Council for Information Technology. We set up a language group there, which has actually ran for a very long time. Now, of course, it's not really running. And somehow we figured out that, okay, there is something called Unicode, and it sort of supports Sinhala and Tamil, but at that time nobody knew exactly how it worked, and so we talked to people at Microsoft and Adobe and various places and managed to get something done, and we got this. Well, we got that web page working, but now I don't think that web page is really there now. But that, I think, was how we managed to get especially Unicode used in Sri Lanka. And I think we managed to get Unicode used in Sri Lanka long before the Indians did, because Indians were resisting it for a long time, but now they've had to do that. And so in many cases, I sort of got onto things more or less by accident, but as several people said, I mean, I don't think we can do anything by yourself. I mean, small things, of course, can be done by yourself. Always, it is important to do it with a team, and of course, sometimes getting the right team and motivating them and getting them to do what should be done is more important, especially when we are doing the Learn Network. We had to work with all the universities, and some universities were very reluctant. I can still remember one professor. He was always criticizing what we had done and said it doesn't work and it's this thing and that thing, and he was at one university, and then he was actually transferred to or he joined another university, and then he realized he didn't have email there. First thing he did was call me and said, can you give me email at this other university? And I was laughing because he was criticizing all the work we had done on email when he was at Peradeniya, and now he went somewhere else and now he wants it. Okay. So that showed that even people who criticize me actually appreciate what I have done. In fact, there was another person who used to criticize a lot, but I was very happy that he was using our technology, the Unicode, to actually send, to do the criticisms. So we realized that. Okay, so anyway, I won't talk too much. So thank you all the staff members, especially people who have been with me for a long time. So to the students I say, some of you may not know me all that much because I was not taking any compulsory classes where you have 200 students the last few years. So that also was, well, I think I'd managed to train the guys who were there, and they wanted to take the bigger classes, and I mean, there was no particular reason for me to hang on to them. I know some lecturers hang on to classes and don't, even after they retire, they won't let anybody else teach, but I'm not going to do that. So I was always teaching smaller classes, but especially the cybersecurity stream, I hope you guys are here somewhere. So I hope I did, I think, spend a lot of time with the first, well, all the batches up to now in the cybersecurity stream. And hope I managed to motivate you to do a bit of cybersecurity. But the other non-cybersecurity people, I think I have been only teaching 1 or 2 subjects here and there. So you might not know me so much, but that's okay. If you want, you can always talk to me. And I have told Professor Shanta also that I'm not going to run around and insist that I be allowed to teach any course. But if there is something which needs to be taught or done, or to go and shout at DVC, or not the current DVC, but anyway, any other DVC or whatever can be done. Or go and talk to ministers and various things. So I'll be certainly available for that type of thing. So thank you very much. And it is a great honor that you have bestowed on me by organizing this.
Professor Dias, thank you for those heartfelt and inspiring words. And more importantly, thank you for your decades of dedicated service, your visionary leadership, and as we heard from the testimonies today, the lasting legacy you have created through the countless lives you have touched.
Your commitment to excellence will continue to inspire generations to come. It is truly rare to find a leader who has shaped not only an institution, but also the character and aspirations of so many individuals. As we reflect on this remarkable journey, I now invite Devmina Vijayakon, President of Computer Science and Engineering Student Society, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Respected Chief Guest, Professor Gihan Dias, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Department Head, distinguished guests, honored faculty members, non-academic staff, and my dear fellow undergraduates. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my distinct honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this memorable felicitation ceremony. Today we gathered not to say a goodbye, but to celebrate a legacy of excellence, vision and selfless service that has shaped the Department of Computer Science and Engineering into what it is today. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our Chief Guest of Honor, Professor Gihan Dias. Sir, despite your tight schedule, you graced us with your presence today. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your decades of visionary leadership, unwavering commitment, and incredible service to our department and the whole world as well. You have not only built a foundation of academic excellence, but have also inspired generations of engineers. We are equally grateful to our distinguished guest who joined us to honor Professor Dias. Our sincere thanks to Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Professor Jagat Manatunga, for your presence and continuous support. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our head of the department, Professor Shanta Fernando, for your leadership and guidance. A special thanks to our distinguished guest, Dr. Kengadarayar Sarveswaran, for gracing this occasion and delivering a deeply inspiring speech. My gratitude extends to all of our esteemed faculty members and educators, our respected professors, senior lecturers, and contract lecturers as well. Thank you for taking time away from your busy teaching and research schedule to be here and honor Professor Dias. And also I would like to offer a special token of appreciation to Dr. Sunima Ratnayaka, the Senior Treasurer of the CSE. Thank you, sir, for your invaluable guidance, immense patience, and constant coordination in helping us organizing this event seamlessly. A co-highlight of today's event was the tribute video commemorating Professor Dias' journey. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Professor Shanta Fernando, Senior Lecturer Ms. Vishaka Nanayakara, and Professor Sana Jayashina for contributing their valuable time, memories, and insights to make the video truly special. An event of this scale would not be possible without the background efforts of our non-academic staff as well. We express our sincere gratitude to the team at CIT Studio for their technical support and the CSE Department Office staff for their tireless assistance in coordinating the logistics. So to my fellow students, the heart of CSESS, undergraduates from each and every batch, from our freshers to final year, came together as one family to organize and execute this event. Thank you for your relentless teamwork, enthusiasm, and dedication. Finally, to Professor Gihan Dias, sir, on behalf of the entire CSE family, we wish you abundant good health, happiness, and success in all of your future endeavors. As we close today's ceremony, we believe this is not a full stop to a grand story, but merely a comma, the beginning of exciting new chapter. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Devmine. So, thank you all for being here today to celebrate and honor the remarkable legacy of Professor Gihan Dias. We wish him all the best of luck in your next chapter, sir. Shall we give one more huge round of applause for Professor Gihan Dias? Thank you, everyone.
As we bring the event to a close, we invite you all to join us on stage for a group photograph to commemorate this day. Thank you.